Yeah, welcome back to another video. Just letting you guys know that the merch is still available. Link is down below. Incredible amount of people have ordered shirts already. There's also some signed prints still available as well, so go and check those out. And if you prefer the designs on my Teespring account, link is down below. You can go get those. Amazing pieces of artwork that I paid for to be designed specifically for my merch, so go and check that out. Great stuff on there. And they are being sent out immediately. As well as the merch that you guys have ordered on my personal merch website, jakemonroe.store. That stuff is being sent out by myself this week. So guys, you know the drill by now. We're just gonna be reacting to some goth TikToks. Could be cringe, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe cringe. We have yet another banger compilation by Techno in it, so I'm gonna check that out today. What people think goths look like 90% of the time.
Hi, Dan. I just moved in next door. I'm a supermodel.
I don't care who the IRS sends, I am not paying taxes.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Most of the time I just shuffle around the house in an Exorcist t-shirt and a pair of Michael Kors shorts. The very shorts I'm wearing right now.
9/11 was bad.
I agree with that.
9/11. 9/11.
I agree with these statements. I mean, when you really think about it, we need more people saying you can be goth and, rather than just you can't be goth and. I feel like we need more of a positive approach to the whole subculture. Ironic coming from me, but then again, I don't like goths. They're usually far too interested in what is and what isn't goth than just being goth. Oh, we got another one of these, ladies and gentlemen. Oh God. I don't think anyone is called Little Peep goth. Or whatever the hell Penelope Acott is. Literally any emo rap or metal musician. Right, so this kind of sounds like and looks like the kind of shit that I would have done when I was a snotty little 18-year-old. When there was that whole outbreak of like post-hardcore and like emo metal. And I've talked about this before, how it's just like, I was a metalhead, right? And then I transitioned hardcore into J-rock because it was just so interesting and there was like so much to it. And Visual K, right? I was huge into that. And I look back on that and I cringe horribly at just how obnoxious I was. I don't think anyone's ever called any of these bands goth, unless of course they have no idea. I mean, Korn and Linkin Park, I guess. But did you see new metal fans in the late 90s and early 2000s? I mean, I'm not saying anything explicitly here, but let's have a look at the fans. Marilyn Manson. Oh, that's one of those ones that goths love to needle in there. I think it's pretension. I think it's like black hole levels of pretentiousness. Like you're so pretentious that you suck in any joy and happiness and it just vanishes within you, right? I think it's that level of contrarianism that cause goths or elitists. They're more concerned with being elitists than they are with being goths. Let's face it. They're like professional elitists. It is a subculture now. Being an elitist is a subculture. But I think it's these people who exclusively say that Manson is not goth. Anyone with eyes and ears can acknowledge the fact that Manson is goth. I don't care your opinion. If your opinion is anything contrary to that fact, then it's incorrect, okay? Manson was 100% goth, and you should all thank him for making sure that it was around in the 90s at all, and in the 2000s. Goths from the 80s were growing up and having kids, and hanging up the bat necklaces, right? Throwing the hairspray away, and taking down the gothic decorations in favor of live, laugh, love murals everywhere. So who came in to save the day? Who came in to make sure that goth was still in some way relevant, or at least creating new goths through the late 90s and the early 2000s? Who was there doing it? Manson was. So shut up with this Manson wasn't goth. I know you like to be like, I know, but he's so goth. No, but listen, he's actually not. Shut the fuck up. I know you think you're being so contrarian and you're being so different and so interesting. It's like, oh, but he's so obviously goth. And it's like, yes, but that's why he's not. Shut up. He is. In fact, the majority of you goddamn elitist goths are goth, most likely because of music that isn't any of the ones on the right here. You need to remember that about 95% of all elitist goths are into goth culture because of none of the bands on the right, okay? It's usually because of bands on the left.
Gosh, are you goth? I wish I could be a goth.
Well, just listen to goth rock, post-punk, and/or darkwave and you're set.
Mm-hmm.
Since, you know, it's a music-based subculture. I wonder what it takes to be goth. Listen to the music. Oh my god, I could never afford these Killstar clothes. Listen to the music. Tell me how to be goth.
See what I mean? They're so primarily wrapped up in what they deem to be the qualifiers for being goth that they don't even just make videos about being goth. There's a whole animation. So I'm here to tell you straight up, if you guys think you are goth, regardless if you listen to the music, then you are, okay? That's how you feel, that's how you identify, that's who you associate with, then you are. You didn't need to submit a resume. You didn't need to jump through these poser-ass hoops being like, no, but I am goth. I just listened to this terrible-sounding band, and they're okay. They're good. Am I goth now? You don't need the approval of these losers. It can be whatever you want it to be. The music is so incredibly subjective and ambiguous that not even they know what it is. There are goths in every corner of the internet in chat rooms squabbling amongst each other about what is and what isn't goth. It's pathetic.
Oh my god, I could never afford these Killstar clothes.
Yeah, because a normie chick is just gonna buy Killstar for absolutely no reason and then parade around like they're goth without having even the most simple entry-level alternative music in their Spotify. There's no way. This scenario does not exist. And if it does, it's extremely rare.
Listen to the music.
Look at this character getting all upset. Ah, so annoyed, so angry. Good. I'm gonna get a Goth Tears mug. Hell yeah. Typo negative plane.
I can't say on TikTok. It's gonna trigger people.
What do you think about YouTube goths who wear locks and nose chains? Oh, this is white chicks getting really upset about cultural appropriation. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. People in Europe don't care. I know white Americans have got their panties in a bunch about this kind of shit, but most people in Europe don't give a shit. Hell, I've been to Japan and asked if certain things that the West use that's from Japanese culture offends them. And do you know what they said? No! They were like, in fact, I love that people are using it. Cultural appropriate, shut up. You can wear fake synthetic dreadlocks and you can wear nose chains. The world, especially the West, is a massive melting pot, okay? It's a crisscross mishmash of different cultures that have come and gone, and different things have been integrated and implemented, and the world is better for it. And primarily, it's what people call cultural appreciation. You're not making fun of these things, you're allowed to use these things, okay? There's a massive difference between being a huge racist and wearing synthetic dreads, which, by the way, is prevalent in almost every culture throughout history. India did it before Africa did. I don't hear Indians getting pissed off about African cultures having dreadlocks. Do you? And hell, Viking culture had dreads and braids too, completely separately. They came up with that on their own. And get this, it's because they have hair. And regardless of culture, if you have several hundred years to play around with different hairstyles, you kind of usually all come up with the same idea. Avoiding incorporating other cultural aspects into you, your style, and what you do in a day is actually having the opposite effect of what you think it's doing. There's actually a very interesting video where it's just like a racist and an extreme far left liberal, and they both had the same ideologies. And it's amazing how the racist and the far left liberal both agreed that they should not be incorporating things from Indian culture or black culture or any ethnic culture at all. They both agreed on this, okay?
White people need to stop wearing dreadlocks and they need to stop appropriating black people's music.
Shaved heads and country music, the way God intended.
Freddy, you're supposed to be on lockdown.
Go cry about it, bitch.
Trad goths should stay in the 70s and it. No one said this. No one's ever said this. That's an immaculate look. That is beautifully done. More Rammstein. More Rammstein. Oh, but they're not goth, right? They've perpetuated the goth subculture inadvertently, but they're not goth. This barely a melody there. It's barely a melody. Oh, the chavs. I know exactly where this is from.
Okay, if you had to marry a baseball player, who would it be?
This is such a basic answer, and I don't want to say it.
Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Cool, so they're actually becoming self-aware. Can be overwhelming? Can it? There's only one aspect of it that's ever been overwhelming, and it wasn't overwhelmingly positive. That's true, yeah, you can be goth without looking the part. Looking the part's fine. I don't give a f what Jake Monroe says. It's a subculture based around music. That's literally all I ever say. That's what it is. This is adorable. I love this. People have always misunderstood what I've said. I've always said it's been about the music. What I'm saying is there's more music to it than what people say there is. Okay? The music is what gets you into it. There's no one who just wakes up in the morning with absolutely no influence at all musically and just goes, I'm just going to wear a lot of black today and just call myself goth for no reason. No, everybody has a musical influence. That's where all these subcultures come from. This has tickled me, man. This is... I did not expect my name to pop up. I don't think I've ever said it's got nothing to do with music. It's all about the fashion. I've never said this, ever. I even did a video talking about how it was music that got me into it in the first place. I love the irony here. I don't give a F what Jake Monroe says. It's a subculture based around music, which is what Jake Monroe says. You can also listen to other genres. Extending what I said. That's gonna tickle me forever. I'm so flattered that I was in here. Unsurprisingly being completely misunderstood, but I'm still flattered that I was in here. So thank you for not caring what I say, and then agreeing with what I say. Goth writhing. Just in amongst being goth there. This backdrop. Moon's another one. Moon's another one that appears in all of these, and a lot of goth usernames. Also, it's Enjoy the Silence again. Having goth friends is the ultimate act of self-care. Yeah, I mean, that's not... Thanks for rubbing that in. There were no goths where I was. There was no goths at all. Whenever I got into the subculture, it was 2006. Everyone was an emo, a scene kid, or a metalhead. Because metalcore was like really blowing up at the time. And new metal. There were no goths where I was from. I was the only one, especially whenever it got to like 2008, 2009, and I sort of transitioned out of flamboyant metalhead into straight up Visual K and everything that came with it.
Cure? No. I have never liked The Cure.
Why have you never liked The Cure?
I do not like The Cure. I believe it's mutual, especially where Robert Smith is concerned. I find the words, the language very trite, just like heaven. I don't like the artwork.
What's the artwork got to do with the sound?
Oh, a lot, Janice. A great deal, a great deal. I just cannot ever, under any circumstance.
Oh, God. I guess conflict is just part of the goth subculture. Don't like this, don't like that. This is exactly what I'm doing. So you could say I'm practicing one of the most authentic aspects of goth subculture.
Apparently, we're not the only parents who have a child that is emo.
What? But Daddy and I love our little muffin, even if she's emo or not.
I'm not emo. Don't you even know the death?
That was always the worst. I've said this before. That's always the most heartbreaking insult, is when you get called an emo. And it's like, No, not emo. Well, that was today's video. I can't wait for the compilations of me at some point in history saying that it's got nothing to do with the music. I don't remember saying it, but it's probably out there somewhere, right? God, if I did say that. Just like to clarify, I most likely meant it's not about the music from the 80s. It's about more than that now. Because, of course, the music from the 80s is not relevant anymore. It's not really going to be there in front of kids' faces when they start getting into their teen years and getting into different subcultures. There's other music there now. And I think it's pretentious and ignorant to deny the fact that there are new bands and new genres perpetuating the goth subculture, or at least getting kids into it. And it's most definitely jarring when this music is so very, very different to the stuff that these elitists will tell you to listen to, that insist that that and only that is goth. God, it'd scare some people off, wouldn't it? They'd be like, oh, this is way different to the stuff that actually got me into this subculture. But I think it's also interesting to note the psychology of dressing up goth, right? Because it's very extravagant, isn't it? In fact, a lot of these goths spend a lot of goddamn time putting on the makeup, getting these dresses, putting it all together. And I just think it's rather interesting to say that goth has absolutely nothing to do with getting dressed up when we all put a lot of time and effort into getting dressed up. But then it's also interesting to say that listening to music and not dressing up makes you goth. Dressing up and not listening to any music that's in any way alternative, I guess also would not make you goth, right? But then again, I don't think anybody's done that. No one. Everybody is influenced in some way by some kind of music to start doing this. And all I'm saying is that we need to have, as goths, we need to have an open mind and be more accepting of the different ways that people get into and associate with the goth subculture. But yes, the whole putting a lot of effort into dressing up thing, it's quite interesting when you think about it, considering it's the music and only the music. If that was 100% true, then why are we even doing this? It's only the music and not about dressing up, says all these TikTokers and YouTubers who are extremely dressed up. It's definitely an extension of the expression of the goth subculture, I'd say. It's not meaningless. It definitely has some importance. But here's an interesting thing that was posed to me recently. There are some people who can't dress up goth, because they live in, strict Christian households or suburbia or whatever. What about them? Are they goth? Yes. Of course they are. If that's who they associate with, you don't need to dress up. But then again, you've also got deaf people. They actually can't hear the music at all. But I'm sure there's a lot of deaf goths out there, right? There has to be. It's almost as if, gosh, the goth subculture has two aspects to it. Am I mistaken? Is that not why everybody in this compilation was dressed up? Even the animation, the person was dressed up. Yeah. I'm bored now. Bye.